The story begins 5 years ago with the female lead, Mo Ningxi, lying on a bed. She finds a half-naked man hovering over her. The man gently caresses Mo Ningxi's cheek and remarks that she has a lot of guts for daring to break into his lounge. Overwhelmed with shame, Mo Ningxi closes her eyes. The man then commands her to be his woman from now on. Suddenly, Mo Ningxi opens her eyes and, to her surprise, realizes it was just a dream. She has 2 children, a son named Xiao Zhao and a daughter named Miao. Xiao Zhao reassures his mom not to be afraid, and Miao asks if she is having another nightmare. Mo Ningxi tells her children that she won't be afraid as long as they are around. Internally, she resolves that this time she must reclaim all the relics left by her mother and grandfather. The 3 of them get off the plane and start heading out of the airport. As they walk outside, they notice a crowd gathered. The onlookers comment on how impressive they look, exclaiming that they might be stars due to their high appearance level and remarking on how lovely the 2 children are. Some even exclaim in excitement when the children glance their way. Mo Ningxi tells her children that she will take them to dinner first, and then they will head to Miao's competition venue. Suddenly, the crowd notices that a child has fainted. They express concern, wondering if the child has a congenital condition. A man rushes over, picks up the child, and angrily scolds his guards for not bringing science medicine. His son, feeling unwell, tells his father that he feels bad. The man, addressing his guard, orders them to stand by and get to the hospital immediately. The guard responds affirmatively. Noticing the strange marks on the child's cheek and neck, Mo Ningxi wonders if the symptom is the same allergy that her son Xiao Zhu has. She stops the man and tells him that her child has the same allergy, offering her son's allergy medicine for the man to check if it matches what his son usually takes. The man looks at the medicine bottle in Mo Ningxi's hand and confirms that it is indeed the right medicine, asking her to give his son 2 doses. Mo Ningxi administers the medicine to the boy, gently encouraging him to open his mouth and take it. She then thinks to herself how lovely the child is and notes that he looks to be about the same age as Xiao Zhu and Miao. 10 minutes later, the child tells his father that he feels much better. The man, addressing Mo Ningxi, says that he is taking the baby to the hospital and asks her to come along so he can thank her afterward. Mo Ningxi initially hesitates, mentioning she has something else to do, but the child grabs her hand, and she notices how much he resembles her own son, Xiao Zhuo. Comparing the 2, she agrees to go with them. The boy then tells her that she is so nice and wishes she were his mother, surprising his father. Mo Ningxi, her children, the man, and his son head towards the car. The man invites Mo Ningxi to get in and take care of his son. She initially declines, mentioning she has 2 kids of her own. However, her son Xiao Zhao reassures her that it's okay and she can take care of the little brother first. Her daughter Miao agrees, saying that she and her brother are fine. The man thanks the children for letting him borrow their mom. Mo Ningxi reflects that this man, who initially seemed cold, actually appears to love children. All of them are in the car, with Mo Ningxi holding the man's child in her lap. She thinks to herself how sad it is for such a young child to be ill. Miao asks if the little brother is asleep, and Mo Ningxi confirms, explaining that he is sick and needs a good rest. Xiao Zhao remarks that the little brother looks just like her and Miao. The man, reflecting on Xiao Zhao's comment, agrees that the resemblance is striking and wonders if it's just a coincidence. He also ponders why Cyan looks so familiar and why this woman seems familiar to him as well. They all arrive at the hospital. After checking the reports, the doctor tells the man that fortunately the medicine was administered in time. The young master is a bit weak, but will be fine after a good rest. The child lies on the bed, calling out for his mom. His father, addressing a guard, asks if Song Jae-in has arrived yet. Mo Ningxi, overhearing this, wonders what the man's relationship with Song Jae-in is. Just then, Song Jae-in arrives and, seeing the man, anxiously asks about Yin, explaining that she had to run over due to a traffic jam. At this moment, it becomes clear that the man's name is Stitching and his child's name is Yin. Stitching informs her that the doctor has seen Yin and that he is fine. Relieved, Song Jae-in expresses her gladness that everything is okay. Noticing Mo Ningxi, Song Jae-in is taken aback and exclaims in surprise, asking what she is doing there, and expressing disbelief that she is still alive. Mo Ningxi, equally surprised, retorts by asking if Song Jae-in is disappointed that she isn't dead and hints that she might have had something to do with it. Song Jae-in, feigning innocence, responds that she doesn't know what Mo Ningxi is talking about, claiming that Mo Ningxi disappeared on her own and they could only assume she was dead. Mo Ningxi internally resolves that she must not rush, and that Song Jae-in must not have any connection with Siching. She also wonders if her father thinks she is dead as well. Siching, curious, asks if they know each other. Song Jae-in explains that Mo Ningxi is her father's other daughter, recounting that when Mo Ningxi left home unmarried and pregnant, they searched for her for a long time, but couldn't find her. Mo Ningxi thinks to herself that being referred to as the Mo family daughter should be a good thing, but wonders how Song Jae-in could have done such things. She speculates whether Lee Se-in is their child. Xiao Zuo, stepping in, confronts Song Jae-in, declaring that his mother is not who she says she is and accusing her of being a bad woman. He demands that she not insult his mother. Song Jae-in accuses Mo Ningxi of eloping despite Mo Ningxi's denial, pointing to her two children as evidence. Yin defends Mo Ningxi, stating that Song Jae-in shouldn't talk about auntie and auntie's children since she is not educated. Xiao Zuo, observing the situation, thinks that Yin is not a bad person. Mo Ningxi intervenes, telling Xiao Zuo not to talk to bad people and reminding him of what his mom taught him. Then, addressing Sixing, she informs him that since there's nothing else to do, she will leave. Mo Ningxi firmly tells Song Jae-in to inform her mother that whatever belongs to her, she will reclaim sooner or later, and she should get ready for it. Song Jae-in, feeling indignant, wonders how Mo Ningxi can talk to her like that. Then, addressing Sixing, she expresses sadness that despite her parents searching for Mo Ningxi for so long, she's ungrateful. Sixing reflects on Song Jae-in's statement, noting that Mo Ningxi does not refute it, implying its truth. Yin, not wanting Mo Ningxi to leave, pleads with her to stay, expressing her attachment. Mo Ningxi internally acknowledges the innocence of the children amidst the entanglements of the adults. She then places her hand on Yin's head, expressing her regret that she has something to do today, but suggesting that they see each other sometime. However, Song Jae-in interjects, reminding Yin that she is her mother. Yin defiantly declares that she doesn't want Song Jae-in to be her mother and expresses her hatred towards her. Mo Ningxi's heart aches as she observes Yin's intense hatred towards Song Jae-in, wondering if Song Jae-in had ever done anything wrong to deserve such resentment. Approaching Yin, Song Jae-in questions her, expressing her love and confusion at Yin's animosity towards her. Then, in a fit of anger, she forcefully pinches Yin's waist, thinking to herself that Yin didn't show her any respect in front of others, and it would be better for her to cry and faint. Mo Ningxi notices Song Jae-in's hand on Yin's waist and becomes alarmed when Yin starts crying and pleading to be released. She confronts Song Jae-in, questioning her actions. Song Jae-in, realizing the seriousness of the situation, believes that Siching will never forgive Mo Ningxi for hurting Yin. Mo Ningxi intervenes, taking Song Jae-in in her arms and comforting her. She reassures Yin that everything is all right. Reflecting on the situation, Mo Ningxi feels sorry for the innocent child who has been mistreated. As Yin's tears subside, Song Jae-in, observing Mo Ningxi's calm demeanor, thinks to herself about Mo Ningxi's luck in the situation. Mo Ningxi addresses Lee Se-in, expressing concern about their son crying and reassuring him that everything is all right now. She then reflects on the combination of Lee Se-in and Song Jae-in's behavior, feeling that Lee Se-in is not a good person, especially since it was clear that Song Jae-in had hurt the child. She wonders how Song Jae-in could anger her when she hadn't even had a chance to be angry yet. Lee Se-in interjects, stating that he doesn't care about their personal issues, but if it affects their child, he will not hesitate to take action. Song Jae-in apologizes to Lee Se-in, admitting that she was too anxious earlier. She then tries to placate Yin, who remains upset. Lee Se-in decides that since Yin doesn't want to see Song Jae-in, she should leave. Song Jae-in, feeling resentful, suggests that both she and Mo Ningxi, an outsider, should leave. Lee Se-in dismisses her, instructing her to mind her own business and not worry about anything else. He then orders the housekeeper to see Song off, to which the housekeeper agrees. Song Jae-in informs Lee Se-in that she will leave and see him again when Yin is in a better mood. Xiao Zuo, relieved, thinks to himself that the wicked woman is finally gone, while Manhwa admires Lee Se-in as a great uncle. Mo Ningxi lifts Yin into her arms, reassuring her that everything is fine. Sitting on the bed, she tells Yin not to run around anymore. Lee Se-in observes that it's difficult for Yin to get close to someone, so maybe Mo Ningxi can continue taking care of him for a while. Manhwa reminds Mo Ningxi that it's almost time for a game. Realizing that she forgot about the game, Mo Ningxi apologizes to Mr. Lee and says she must leave. As she starts to leave, Lee Se-in grabs her hand and offers to walk her there. Manhwa informs them that the competition will be held at the Grand Theater downtown and thanks Uncle Lee. Yin asks her dad to send them to the competition, assuring him that she is fine. Lee Se-in agrees and promises to keep a bodyguard and housekeeper with Yin and tells her to call him if she needs anything. Reflecting on Yin's maturity, Lee Se-in wonders when the child became so smart. Afterward, they all proceeded to travel in the car. Mo Ningxi mentioned that the approach would stop in 10 minutes and assured that it wouldn't be too late to wait for the car to park. Lee Se-in then got out of the car and expressed his intention to take someone to the scene, while instructing another person to watch Xiao Zuo and the car. As Lee Se-in carried Manhwa on his shoulders, Manhwa exclaimed with joy about her uncle's speed. Mo Ningxi observed this interaction from inside the car. Meanwhile, Xiao Zhao remarked to his mom about how their father figure would look like Lai Xiqing. On the other side, Song Jae-in thought to herself that they finally left and she needed to hurry in to see Lai Xian. Later, she approached Yin and quietly encouraged him. At the Grand Theater, Lai Xiqing sat in the first seat and Mo Mingxi arrived. Lai Xiqing directed her to her seat and Mo Mingxi, while seated, observed his meticulous nature and efficient arrangements. Afterward, Mio appeared on stage wearing her new dress. The judge remarked on her clear voice and abundant breath, praising her as one of the strongest child performers they had seen in a long time. Lai Xiqing, turning to Mo Mingxi, commented on Mio's talent and suggested finding a professional teacher for her. Mo Mingxi explained that Mio had a first teacher abroad but emphasized her desire for Mio not to exhaust herself and spend her entire childhood on training. She expressed her intention to let Mio choose her path when she's older. Mio then concluded her performance, receiving applause and praise from the judges and teachers. Back in the room, Mio excitedly asked her family if they heard her sing, and Xiao Zhao mentioned that Uncle Lai took them to watch her performance from the VIP table. Mo Ningxi reminded Mio to thank Uncle Li for his support. Mio and Xiao Zhao thanked Uncle Li, expressing their gratitude. Lai Xiqing replied warmly, saying they were welcome and commending them for their good behavior. Just then, Lai Xiqing's phone rang. He excused himself to take the call, and after a moment, his expression turned serious. He said in alarm, "What did you say? Food poisoning?" Mo Ningxi, surprised and concerned, asked if it was about Cyan. Lai Xiqing confirmed, explaining that Cyan was under emergency treatment due to an allergy and food poisoning, and that the doctor had mentioned the situation was difficult. He stated he needed to return to the hospital immediately. Mo Ningxi quickly offered to go with him, suggesting she might be able to help. Reflecting on Cyan's condition, Lai Xiqing felt a pang of pain at the thought of anything happening to the poor boy. He then expressed his gratitude to Mo Ningxi, thanking her for her willingness to assist. The four of them arrived at the hospital and hurried down the corridor. Lai Xiqing opened the door to Yin's room, where they saw Song Jae-in. Upon seeing Lai Xiqing, Song Jae-in thought to herself that he had finally arrived and urged him to save Yin quickly. Lai Xiqing, angered and desperate, commanded someone to try Chinese medicine if Western medicine was ineffective, and to go to the TCM department immediately. Mo Ningxi offered to try acupuncture at moxibustion, mentioning that she had studied related conditions. Lai Xiqing agreed, allowing her to attempt the treatment, and internally marveled at how much Mo Ningxi knew. Song Jae-in objected, questioning how they could let Mo Ningxi touch Yin without knowing her medical background and expressing concern about the potential risks. Mo Ningxi retorted by asking how Song Jae-in knew what she had learned abroad over the years. She then pushed Song Jae-in aside, asserting that children could not afford to wait, and if Song Jae-in truly loved Yin, she would not hinder her efforts. Lai Xiqing questioned the housekeeper about why Song Jae-in had returned. The housekeeper explained that upon hearing about Yin's illness, Song Jae-in had insisted on taking care of him herself. Song Jae-in, now in tears, expressed her deep concern for Yin, stating that she couldn't rest easy and had come to check on him. She hadn't expected Yin to suffer from food poisoning again and wept openly. Lai Xiqing, growing impatient, told her that if she wanted to cry, she should do it outside and not interfere with Yin's treatment. Song Jae-in was taken aback by his stern words. Meanwhile, Mo Ningxi observed Yin and thought about how such a young child had endured a long ordeal, worrying that he might need a long time to recover. After 10 minutes, Mo Ningxi instructed Lai Xiqing to get some water and a towel, predicting that Yin might vomit soon. As if on cue, Yin began to throw up. Mo Ningxi comforted him, telling him that he would feel better once he was done. She then asked Yin how he was feeling. Yin, now relieved, thanked her and said he no longer felt bad. Lai Xiqing thought to himself that Mo Ningxi was much better at taking care of the children than the nanny at home, and he noticed how much Yin depended on her. He then asked where Mo Ningxi was currently staying. Mo Ningxi admitted that she hadn't had time to rent a house yet and planned to take the kids to a hotel for the night. Yin, excited, suggested that his aunt come live in his house, insisting that it was very big. Mo Ningxi, however, explained that she wanted to have their own home but promised to bring her younger brother and sister to visit Yin's home as guests in the future. Lai Xiqing then proposed that Mo Ningxi should not wait for a chance but instead help him take care of Yin as his nutritionist for the time being. Xiao Zhao eagerly asked if this meant they could stay at Lai Xiqing's home and play with Yin every day. Lai Xiqing assured him that they could and that Yin would be happy to have them around. Xiao Zhao pleaded with his mother, Mo Ningxi, to promise to stay at Lai Xiqing's home, emphasizing that they didn't have a place to live at the moment. Song Jae-in interjected, refusing the idea and internally fuming at the thought of Mo Ningxi staying at Xiqing's house when she hadn't even lived there herself. Yin, Frustrated, demanded that his father get rid of Song Jae-in, accusing her of feeding him the seafood porridge that made him ill. Lee Sik-ching turned to Song Jae-in, questioning her angrily about whether she had fed their son seafood porridge despite knowing about his allergy. Song Jae-in denied the accusation, insisting she hadn't been there that afternoon and accusing Yin of lying to get rid of her. Yin protested, insisting he wasn't lying and that it was Song Jae-in who was lying. Lee Sik-ching reprimanded his son, reminding him to speak with facts and not make a scene. Mo Ningxi intervened, defending Yin by pointing out that he was just a child and had been hurt. She urged Lee Sik-ching to look into the matter to uncover the truth instead of yelling at Yin. Xiao Zhao took out his laptop from his bag, determined to prove his little brother's innocence. He thought to himself that he had to help him. When Manhwa asked what he was doing, he quickly hushed her and explained that he was gathering evidence to support their little brother. Meanwhile, Lee Sik-ching instructed the housekeeper to contact the dean and check the surveillance video. Song Jae-in, feeling defensive, asked Sik-ching if he didn't believe her, questioning why she would lie. Xiao Zhao then brought his laptop to Lee Sik-ching, declaring that Song Jae-in was indeed lying and that he had obtained the afternoon's surveillance footage. Surprised, Lee Sik-ching asked how he managed to access the cameras. He then realized with astonishment that Xiao Zhao's technical skills resembled those of the top hacker known as Zhu Oxen, marveling at the child's potential if properly nurtured. Turning to Song Jae-in, Lee Sik-ching accused her of being so malicious that she was capable of harming her own children, expressing his disbelief and disappointment in her actions. Song Jae-in accused Mo Ningxi of using her children to frame her, expressing her belief that Mo Ningxi orchestrated the situation to make her look bad. Xiao Zhao intervened, asserting that Song Jae-in shouldn't doubt others' abilities, stating that investigating surveillance cameras was within his capabilities. Lee Sik-ching, angered by the situation, ordered Song Jae-in to be taken away and prohibited her from approaching Cyan without his permission. As Song Jae-in was being escorted away, she pleaded with Lee Sik-ching to listen to her explanation, claiming ignorance about the seafood porridge incident and blaming the family's nanny. Lee Sik-ching and Mo Ningxi exchanged glances before Lee Sik-ching requested Mo Ningxi to take care of Cyan for a while, emphasizing the child's need for care. The three children watched Mo Ningxi expectantly. Mo Ningxi, feeling a sense of responsibility towards the children, thought to herself about their innocence and then agreed to take care of Cyan, accepting Lee Sik-ching's request. On the other side, members of the Mo family are shown discussing Song Jae-in's return. Song Jae-in's mother reassures her, expressing confidence in their ability to handle Mo Ningxi's return and drive her away if necessary. Meanwhile, Mo Ningxi steps out of her room after a shower, contemplating whether she should prepare breakfast for Cyan. Upon seeing Lee Sik-ching, she greets him, to which he responds with a simple morning. Then he points out something about her clothes, prompting Mo Ningxi to wonder what might be wrong with them. As Lee Sik-ching approaches her, Mo Ningxi realizes that she forgot to blow dry her hair after the shower, feeling a bit absent-minded. Lee Sik-ching pauses, finding Mo Ningxi intriguing, while Mo Ningxi wonders if he perceives her as flirtatious, despite her innocent intentions. Meanwhile, Yin enters the scene and informs Mo Ningxi that Cyan is awake and downstairs for breakfast. Yin then smiles and agrees to go downstairs. Later, in the bathroom, Mo Ningxi helps Yin brush his teeth, but he insists he can do it himself, urging her to go check on Cyan and Xiao Zhao. Mo Ningxi tells Cyan that he is a good boy and to take his time, reminding him to call her if anything happens. Cyan responds affirmatively. She then goes to her children's room and asks if Manhwa and Xiao Zhao are awake. Xiao Zhao replies that they woke up long ago, finished washing, and he even urged Manhwa to get up early to practice her voice. Mo Ningxi praises them for being great and asks if they are hungry, suggesting they go downstairs together for breakfast. Reflecting to herself, she thinks that her two children are so good, and that staying at Lai's house might be the right choice as Rongzi cannot reach them there. Yin, freshened up, sits on a chair and thinks about figuring out a way to keep Auntie in his house. He starts drawing a picture of Mo Ningxi. When Mo Ningxi arrives, she sees the drawing and praises it, amazed that such a beautiful drawing is coming from a 5-year-old. Yin tells her that he just draws casually and asks her not to tell his dad as he doesn't like him drawing. Mo Ningxi, puzzled, asks why his father wouldn't be happy with such a talented son. Yin explains that his dad said he was the heir to the Li family and couldn't learn to draw, and that the bad woman, referring to Song Jae-in, said his drawings were rubbish. Mo Ningxi, shocked, confirms if the bad woman he mentioned is Song Jae-in, thinking how could she call her son's talented drawings rubbish. Mo Ningxi reassures Yin that she will convince his father to let him learn painting if he truly wants to, promising her help. Yin, delighted, thanks her. Later that evening in the living room, Mo Ningxi approaches Lee Sik-ching with something important to discuss. She presents a painting by Yin for him to see. Lie Sixing, recognizing the topic, remarks on Yinyan's desire to paint, recalling their previous discussions. Mo Ningxi hands in the painting and questions his objection to Yinyan learning to paint, emphasizing his talent. Lie Sixing, crumpling the painting in his hands, states firmly that as the sole heir of the Li family, Yinyan cannot become a painter. Shocked and upset, Mo Ningxi chastises him for destroying Yinyan's work. Lie Sixing, maintaining his stance, reminds her that while he asked her to care for Yinyan, she should not interfere in the Li family's internal matters. As Yinyan approaches the living room, he wonders how the conversation between his aunt and father is going, and whether his dad agrees to let auntie teach him how to draw. Inside, Lie Sixing is telling Mo Ningxi that after Yinyan recovers, he will arrange for him to learn various courses but not painting. Yinyan overhears this and bursts out in protest, asking why his father won't agree and reminding him that auntie promised to teach him. Lie Sixing, taken aback by Yinyan's outburst, reprimands him for his lack of manners, asking where he learned to talk like that to his father. In response, Yinyan shouts that he hates his dad, accusing him of never agreeing to anything, and then runs to his room in tears. As he runs, he thinks to himself that if auntie were his mother, he wouldn't let his father bully him like this. Lie Sixing looked at Mo Ningxi with anger in his eyes. Mo Ningxi, trying to make her case, said that drawing wouldn't take too much of Yinyan's time and could be beneficial by cultivating his imagination and spatial abilities, among other things. Lie Sixing interrupted, telling her to come into the study to discuss it further. Mo Ningxi wondered if this meant he had agreed to her proposal. They moved to the study room. Inside, Lie Sixing mentioned that he had read her profile and knew she majored in design. He asked her to draw a picture. Mo Ningxi, seeking clarity, asked if painting to his satisfaction would mean she could teach Yinyan how to draw. Lie Sixing replied that she could think of it that way. As Mo Ningxi prepared to draw, Lie Sixing sat on the sofa, thinking to himself that he wanted to see how skilled she was and if her abilities were worth his investment. An hour had passed before they realized it. Mo Ningxi finished her drawing and announced she was done. Lie Sixing looked at the picture and asked in surprise if it was a portrait of him. Internally, he had to admit that the painting was incredibly vivid, showcasing a solid foundation in her skills. Mo Ningxi approached Lie Sixing and asked if her work was good enough for her to teach Yinyan. Lie Sixing agreed that she could teach Yinyan to draw but added that he had a condition. As Mo Ningxi looked closely at him, noting his impeccable appearance, Lie Sixing continued, stating that 2 months from now, at the Kinkai exhibition, Yinyan's paintings needed to rank in the top 10. If they didn't, Yinyan could not continue his studies in painting. Mo Ningxi pondered Lie Sixing's words, understanding the weight of expectations placed on heirs of prestigious families. She realized that to reach such heights, extraordinary efforts were required, as Lie Sixing had suggested. Mo Ningxi agreed to Lie Sixing's condition, but made her own demand. If Cyan won an award, she would have a say in his hobbies. Lie Sixing agreed, promising to keep his word. Mo Ningxi reflected on how far she would go for other people's children, realizing it was the first lesson she would impart to Cyan. On the second day, Mo Ningxi asked Cyan if he enjoyed going to the art exhibition and offered to show him other people's paintings. Cyan agreed. From a distance, Song Jaein and her mother observed Mo Ningxi. Song Jaein's mother asked if the woman they saw was Mo Ningxi, and Song Jaein confirmed it, mentioning that Mo Ningxi had managed to take Cyan out alone, something Lie Sixing never allowed her to do. Song Jaein's mother expressed skepticism about Mo Ningxi's intentions, likening her to a turtle dove taking over the nest of a magpie, and insinuating that Mo Ningxi was trying to get close to Lie Sixing for ulterior motives. Mo Ningxi requested 1 adult ticket and 1 child ticket from the person at the counter. Suddenly, Song Jaein's mother approached from behind and questioned Mo Ningxi about why she was with Jaein's child. Onlookers speculated about a possible family dispute based on their attire. Mo Ningxi reasoned that she couldn't avoid encountering her adversaries as they had come to the place first and were quick to lodge complaints. Yinyan expressed distress over the situation, describing the presence of the bad guys again. Mo Ningxi reassured Yinyan, stating that she didn't want to argue in front of the child and suggested discussing the matter another day. She then comforted Yinyan and suggested they proceed inside to see the art exhibition, to which Yinyan agreed. Song Jaein's mother grabbed Mo Ningxi's shoulder and accused her of living in Li's house and having an affair with her husband. She questioned why Mo Ningxi was at the mall with her sister's baby. Onlookers commented on Mo Ningxi's seemingly polite demeanor, expressing disbelief at the accusation of seducing her sister's husband and even attempting to snatch the baby. Mo Ningxi tried to reassure Yinyan, asking him to wait for her while she resolved the matter before taking him to see the art exhibition. Yinyan, aware of the situation, urged Mo Ningxi to move on, referring to the accusers as the bad guys. Mo Ningxi said that Aunt was the one who first meddled with her parents and accused her of living in Li's home. Song Jaein responded by saying not to talk nonsense and that Cyan is the heir of the Li family and she doesn't agree with Mo Ningxi living there. Then she called Cyan to her and said that Mo Mingxi must be ill-intentioned and bad. Yin also said that she doesn't want a mother who poisons her. A girl standing there asked if she is the real mother. A boy commented that it seems Cyan is closer to Mo Mingxi. Mo Mingxi thought that although she did not instigate Cyan, it was not a good thing for him to contradict his mother in public like that, and she can't let everyone focus on him. Mo Mingxi asked Song Jae-in mother how she had been living in the Mo family for the past 5 years with the inheritance left by her mother. Song Jae-in responded by questioning what legacy she was referring to and denied taking anything that belonged to her mother, telling Mo Mingxi not to make things up. Mo Mingxi wondered how Song Jae-in could know something that her husband didn't. Mo Mingxi then warned Song Jae-in that there was proof and that she would settle the accounts with her piece by piece. In response, Song Jae-in's mother raised her hand and scolded Mo Mingxi, reminding her that she was her elder and should not speak to her in such a manner. Mo Mingxi then grabbed Song Jae-in's mother's hand and reminded her of how she used to compare herself to Mo Mingxi's mother when she was young, questioning whether she thought she could win by taking away Mo Yongkang. Song Jae-in questioned Mo Mingxi, asking how she could refer to her father when she had gotten pregnant out of wedlock and ran away, causing her father to search for her for years and eventually announce her death. She further questioned Mo Mingxi's conscience. Mo Mingxi responded by saying that Song Jae-in and her mother were both disgusting, emphasizing that Song Jae-in's surname was Song, not Mo, and questioning how she could call him Dad. She accused them of being in cahoots together. Song Jae-in then called for help, claiming that someone had committed a blatant murder and pushed her mother. A man arrived and asked what he could do for her. Song Jae-in, pointing her finger like Mo Mingxi, instructed him to pick up her mother and throw her out. The man hesitated, stating that it wasn't appropriate. Song Jae-in threatened him, mentioning that her father was the chairman of the Mo group and had shares in his group. She warned him that if he didn't listen to her, he would lose his job. Lai Xixing wondered aloud why he didn't know that someone else was in charge of the Li family's shopping mall. Upon seeing Lai Xixing, Yin called out, "Dad," and thought to herself that help was coming and that her dad could save Aunt Mo. Lai Xixing picked up his child and questioned whether she projected a motherly image when behaving this way in front of their son. Song Jae-in retorted by saying, "Xixing, she was the first to talk nonsense." Lai Xixing interrupted, stating that he didn't want to hear Song Jae-in's explanation as these matters had little impact on Cyan. Song Jae-in reminded Lai Xixing that he had promised to accompany her to Mo's dinner that night. Lai Xixing, without hesitation, continued on his way, leaving Song Jae-in wondering if he would keep his promise. He assured her that he would do as he promised. Later, Lai Xixing mentioned going to the art show, prompting Mo Mingxi to join him. Seeing this, Song Jae-in thought angrily to herself, "Mo Mingxi, this woman. The position beside Xixing should be mine." After coming out of the exhibition, Mo Mingxi asked Lai Xixing if he could take her to Mo's dinner party that night. She thought to herself that his date was probably Song Jae-in and she was afraid he wouldn't agree. Lai Xixing responded, "Yeah, but what are you going to do?" Mo Mingxi hesitated and said she had something she wanted to look into. She wondered if he had said yes so easily. Lai Xixing then suggested sending Cyan home first and taking Mo Mingxi to choose a dress. At the Shadow of Light dress store, Mo Mingxi looked at dresses and thought about how things had changed since she used to come to see the latest designs in college. The store owner recognized her and asked if she was there with her husband, but Mo Mingxi clarified that he was not her husband. Lai Xixing showed her several dresses and said to wrap up the latest ones for him. Mo Mingxi protested, saying she only needed one dress. Lai Xixing asked if one piece would be enough and mentioned that it would be too much trouble to buy another one for the next party. Mo Mingxi wondered about the next party. Lai Xixing then handed her a dress and suggested that she try it on first. Mo Mingxi went into the fitting room with the dress and thought about how expensive the dresses were. She was concerned that buying more would deplete her savings. After trying on the dress, she thought that Lai Xixing had good taste. She came out and informed him that she had changed it. Lai Xixing looked at her and said that it was not bad. He then thought to himself that there was something unique about her that suited these elegant dresses. Finally, Lai Xixing told the store lady that all dresses in the same style should be wrapped and checked out. Mo Mingxi exclaimed that she had already told Lai Xixing not to buy dresses indiscriminately and that it was too much. She questioned how she could have so many parties to attend. Lai Xixing replied that the dress would always be used. He then thought to himself that this way, Mo Mingxi should be able to forget some of the unhappiness that Song Jae-in had caused her. Song Jae-in called out, saying that she had come to see Cyan and warmed up her favorite milk. Yin, opening the door, asked why she was there since their dad was not home and refused to drink her milk. Song Jae-in explained that she was there to apologize to Yin and that she was also very sad about hurting her last time. Yin called her a liar and said that she wouldn't talk to her. Then Yin forcefully closed the door. Song Jae-in was inwardly furious, cursing the child and his mother. Suddenly, she heard a voice from behind asking who had permitted her to go up to the second floor. Turning around, she saw Lai Xixing, who reminded her that she was not allowed to come and go from the Li family home at will. He questioned the housekeeper about who had let her in. Trying to placate him, Song Jae-in explained that she was afraid Yin would forget her, claiming that Mo Ningxi had been bad-mouthing her to Yin, causing the child not to recognize her anymore. Lai Xixing expressed his disappointment at her recent behavior, warning her not to test his patience. Song Jae-in insisted that she had no idea what Mo Ningxi had said to Yin during her stay, but feared that the child would be completely alienated from her if things continued as they were. Lai Xixing told Mo Ningxi that there was nothing for her there and suggested she go to her room and clean up. Mo Ningxi agreed and began to leave, while Song Jae-in glared at her angrily. Lai Xixing then addressed Song Jae-in, reminding her that Mo Ningxi was her older sister and noting that he had never seen her treat Mo Ningxi with the respect she deserved. He pointed out that regardless of whether Mo Ningxi had said anything bad about her, Song Jae-in's uneducated behavior had negatively influenced Cyan. He then instructed the housekeeper to fire the security guard who had let Song Jae-in in and to escort her out. The housekeeper acknowledged the order. Song Jae-in tried to apologize, admitting she was wrong this time and promising not to repeat her mistake, before asking if he would be attending the banquet that night. Lai Xixing confirmed that he would. Inwardly, Song Jae-in thought to herself that she would be bringing someone else to the event. In Mo Ningxi's room, Myomio admired a beautiful dress and remarked that it was even better than her mother's old dress. She asked if her mother was going to a dance that night and if Uncle Lei would be attending as well. Mo Ningxi confirmed that she would be going out with Uncle Lei and reminded Myomio to get along well with Cyan. Xiao Zhao thought to himself that their mother was really going out with Uncle Lai, while Myomio wondered if Uncle Lei might actually be their father. Mo Ningxi and her two children went to the living room, where they found Lai Xixing and Yin standing. Mo Ningxi instructed the three children to obey the housekeeper while they were away, and the children responded in unison that they understood. She then asked Lai Xixing if they should leave. As they prepared to go, Lai Xixing reflected that compared to Song Jae-in, Mo Ningxi seemed to be more popular with the children. At the Mo family banquet hall, the guests murmured among themselves, wondering why the head of the Li family had a different female companion and not Mr. Mo's daughter. They speculated about the couple never getting married and expressed their confusion. Mo Ningxi thought to herself that she hadn't expected to enter the banquet so smoothly and anticipated that both Song Jae-in and her father would be surprised to see her. Just then, Song Jae-in and her father arrived. Mr. Mo asked Jae-in when she and Xixing would finalize their marriage, emphasizing that Cyan was almost grown up and that they couldn't delay any longer. Song Jae-in responded that it should be soon, depending on Xixing's arrangements. Internally, she wondered if Xixing had arrived yet and was shocked to see that he had brought Mo Ningxi with him. A young man at the banquet recognized Mo Ningxi and expressed disbelief, thinking she was dead. Mo Ningxi clarified that there had been a misunderstanding about her, but now that she was back, she was sure her father would be happy. Mr. Mo, astonished, confirmed if it was truly Ningxi, thinking to himself that Mo Ningxi must have deceived Xixing. Mr. Mo expressed his relief at finding Mo Ningxi, asking where she had been and why there had been no news. Mo Ningxi responded skeptically, questioning if her father had truly been worried about her. She pointed out that her cousin Song Jae-in had taken her place as his daughter as soon as she had left. Mr. Mo tried to explain, saying he had missed her and searched for her for years. When there had been no news, he had felt compelled to announce her death. Mo Ningxi pressed further, asking him to explain Song Jae-in's sudden role in the family. The other guests began whispering among themselves, confused about the situation within the Mo family. They remarked on the sudden appearance of Song Jae-in and the unusual family dynamics. Song Jae-in, frustrated and thinking to herself, noted that the same people who had previously flattered her were now disregarding her in favor of Mo Ningxi. Song Jae-in told her sister that she knew there were misunderstandings between them and their father, but she couldn't openly question their father like that. She then addressed Xixing, acknowledging that he was angry with her and suggesting that this was why he had asked her sister to be his date. Mo Ningxi replied that as the first lady of the Mo family, she didn't need anyone else's help to attend her own family's banquet. She explained that she was just passing by with Mr. Lai. Moving closer to Song Jae-in, she added that no matter how down and out she might be today, she had been born into a wealthy family, unlike those who suddenly appeared and pretended otherwise. Hearing this, Song Jae-in thought angrily to herself, cursing Mo Ningxi. She resented that without Mo Ningxi, she would have been the only daughter in the Mo family. Lai Xixing reminded Mo Ningxi not to get too excited, as the party had just begun. She smiled and assured him that she was fine. He then suggested that with Mr. Mo's oldest daughter back, they should catch up somewhere quieter. Mr. Mo agreed and invited Ningxi to the second floor, indicating that they had a lot to discuss after such a long time apart. In his thoughts, Mr. Mo appreciated Lai Xixing's effort, assuming he was trying to help Jae-in find relief. Like Sixing in his thoughts, wondered about Mo Ningxi's intentions, thinking about what she would do if given the chance. Mo Ningxi then accompanied Mr. Mo to a lounge room. Once in the lounge, Mr. Mo questioned Mo Ningxi about where she had been all these years and her relationship with Mr. Lai. Mo Ningxi sarcastically noted that her good sister hadn't informed him, revealing that she was now the nutritionist for the Li family's young master and lived with the Lai family. She added that she had returned to ask her father about the inheritance left by her grandfather and mother, questioning if he ever had nightmares about it. Mr. Mo, angered, accused her of talking nonsense and internally regretted not having Jane take care of the matter back then, which would have prevented the current situation. Mo Ningxi told her father that she hadn't even disclosed anything yet and questioned why he was so upset. She mentioned that she didn't want more for the day and hoped he would clear out the villa that her mother had left her as soon as possible. She warned that if she found any traces of Song Jae-in there when she visited, he would regret it. Half an hour later, a lady commented on how good-looking Mo Ningxi was much better than Song Jae-in. Another cautioned her to keep her voice down so Jae-in wouldn't hear. A different lady assured Jae-in that she would not let Mo Ningxi bully her despite Jae-in's humble response about not being as pretty as her sister. Jae-in then addressed Mo Ningxi, accusing her of knowing that Mr. Lai was engaged to her and that they had a child together. She further accused Ningxi of seducing Mr. Lai to ruin Jane's happiness, calling her shameless and stating that she wouldn't dare to appear in front of everyone if she were in Ningxi's place. Mo Ningxi asked Lai Xixing if he was engaged to Song Jae-in, questioning whether Jae-in was just wishful thinking or if she herself was blind to have seen things wrongly. Lai Xixing responded that he and Miss Song had no plans to get engaged for the time being. A lady had interjected, expressing disbelief and arguing that since Jae-in had given birth to his child, he ought to give her a title. Lai Xixing retorted, asking if she was trying to teach him how to handle his affairs and then instructed them to head inside as the auction was about to start. Mo Ningxi advised the lady to get her facts straight before standing up for a friend. She then pondered how exactly Song Jae-in had conceived the child. The lady apologized to Jae-in, stating that she had intended to help her get revenge. Jae-in reassured her that it wasn't her fault, but inwardly thought of Caning as a fool who couldn't even manage such a small task. At the auctioneer announced that the event was officially starting and introduced the first item, a share of Rong's company. Mo Ningxi was internally outraged, realizing these were her grandfather's family shares and feeling indignant that they were up for bidding. Lai Xixing noticed her reaction and asked if she wanted the share, pointing out that Rong's shares were currently worthless. Mo Ningxi replied that she knew but couldn't afford them, acknowledging her limited savings of only a few $100,000, which was far below the expected bidding price. As the bid started at $1 million and quickly rose to $1.2 million and $1.5 million, Mo Ningxi resigned herself to the fact that she couldn't compete financially. Suddenly, Lai Xixing bid $3 million, shocking her. She questioned his sanity, insisting the shares weren't worth that much. He nonchalantly replied that he was just paying to be happy. A lady approached Lai Xixing with a transfer of shares documents, explaining that he only needed to sign in person. She complimented his generosity, mentioning that they would donate half the money to Project Hope. Lai Xixing instructed someone to inform Mr. Mo that he would also be acquiring Wrongs and that they would discuss the details later. Song Jae-in expressed her gratitude to Lai Xixing and immediately went to relay the news to her father. Mo Ningxi, standing nearby, was puzzled and concerned by this development, wondering if Lai Xixing was essentially funneling money to Mo Yongkang. Noticing her discomfort, Lai Xixing asked Mo Ningxi if something was wrong. She replied that she wasn't feeling well and decided to wait outside. As she left, she contemplated the implications of Lai Xixing acquiring Wrong's group and shares, worrying about how she might reclaim them. Sitting outside, Mo Ningxi reflected on the situation, thinking about how Wrong's group and shares were now in Lai Xixing's hands and strategizing on how to get them back. Lai Xixing, observing her from a distance, wondered what was bothering her. He then informed her that the auction was over and suggested they go home. Mo Ningxi agreed. In the car, Lai Xixing asked Mo Ningxi if she was in a mood, to which she replied that she was not. He then questioned her behavior, wondering if she was giving him the cold shoulder. She responded that she had nothing to say. Frustrated, Lai Xixing warned her not to overstep her bounds and drove home quickly. Mo Ningxi, reflecting on the situation, thought to herself that she had nothing to do with Lai Xixing. If he wanted to help Mo Yongkang, it wasn't her concern. When they arrived in front of the Li family home, Mo Ningxi got out of the car, expressing that she was tired and heading to bed. Lai Xixing, observing her strange temper, thought it was evident she had no money to help herself and seemed disappointed by the outcome. Entering the house, Mo Ningxi wondered if Siam was asleep. She was pleased to find all three children sleeping together in the bed. She gently covered them with a blanket, thinking to herself that the three of them were quite close. She hoped that Siam would grow up to be better than his father. Mo Ningxi, looking at Xiao Zhu's laptop, thought to herself that the naughty boy had forgotten to turn off the computer again. As she glanced at the laptop, she wondered why Xiao Zhu had Lai Xiqing's information on it. Closing the laptop, she resolved that someday she would teach him not to look up people's personal data. Later, at the Li family's restaurant, Lai Xiqing was seated when Mo Ningxi arrived with the 3 children. He greeted them with a good morning. Mo Ningxi headed towards the kitchen, leaving Lai Xiqing to his thoughts. In Lai Xiang's room, Xiao Zhuo, Miaomio, and Yinyan were discussing how to make up with their mom. Xiao Zhuo suggested that Uncle Lai had made Mom angry, and they needed to find a way to make it up to her. Yinyan remarked that her father had never coaxed anyone before and wondered how to get him to promise to coax Auntie. Miaomio mentioned that girls like beautiful things and noted that when Uncle Lai bought a skirt for her mom the previous day, she was very happy. Xiao Zhuo then proposed that perhaps Uncle Lai could take their mom shopping. However, Yinyan doubted this plan, pointing out that her father was usually very busy and often had his subordinates buy clothes for her. She questioned how he could take Auntie shopping in person. Xiao Zhao remarked that adults were most afraid of children crying and pouting, suggesting that if they gave Uncle Lai a full set of tears and pouts, he would surely agree. Yinyan questioned whether that strategy would work. Miaomio chimed in, stating that her mother was the softest, and that if they cried when Uncle Lai and her mother were together, her mother would definitely agree first. Upon hearing the conversation, Mo Ningxi opened the door to Yinyan's room and wondered what the 3 little ones were whispering about. She approached them and asked what little secret they were discussing, but they fell silent upon hearing her voice. Yinyan quickly stood up and claimed that there was nothing, saying that Xiao Zhu wanted to show her his computer. Xiao Zhao echoed her sentiment, urging Mo Ningxi to go with them. Miaomio diverted the conversation, suggesting that they eat watermelon and asking if there was any in the compote. Mo Ningxi hesitantly agreed. In the Li family's living room, Lai Xiqing asked Mo Ningxi if she intended to spend all her time with him. Mo Ningxi thought she could handle everything that day, but now she realized she had overestimated herself. Xiao Zhao and Yinyan exchanged glances, and Xiao Zhao urged Yinyan to act quickly since both adults were present. Yinyan questioned if their plan would work since her dad never let her cry before. Xiao Zhao insisted that if she wanted her mom to be with Yinyan's dad, she needed to act. Yinyan acquiesced, acknowledging Xiao Zhao's persistence, and descended the stairs. Addressing Mo Ningxi, Yinyan claimed he was fine but had something to tell his dad. He asked his dad to take him to the mall for new clothes, but Lai Xiqing declined, suggesting the housekeeper could handle it. Disappointed, Yinyan contemplated crying, thinking Mo Ningxi might still agree. Eventually, he started sobbing, expressing his desire for his dad to personally choose clothes for him like Xiao Zhuo and Miaomio's mom did for them. Mo Ningxi offered to help Yinyan pick out clothes to stop his tears. She then pondered on Lai Xiqing's irresponsibility, leaving everything to the housekeeper, questioning his role as a father. Meanwhile, Lai Xiqing noticed that Mo Ningxi seemed calmer now, contemplating that if it was easy to pacify her, it might be a good idea to go to the mall. Lai Xiqing suggested to Yinyan that Mo Ningxi could accompany them to the mall to help pick out clothes. Yinyan was surprised and asked if Lai Xiqing was free again. Mo Ningxi wondered why he was suddenly available. Yinyan thought his dad should fight for him, as that was all he could do. Lai Xiqing reminded Mo Ningxi of her offer to help pick clothes for Yinyan, emphasizing that if he went alone, he might end up buying too many new items. Yinyan asked Mo Ningxi if she wanted to help him pick out clothes, mentioning that his mother had never bought him any. Mo Ningxi agreed, suggesting that she and Lai Xiqing could go together to help him choose, urging him not to cry. She thought that her conflict with Lai Xiqing didn't need to involve the children. Yinyan expressed his gratitude while Lai Xiqing thought the children were quite clever. They'd arrived at a high-end children's clothing store where Mo Ningxi selected a t-shirt and asked the shopkeeper to wrap it. Lai Xiqing also requested items to be wrapped, referring to Mo Ningxi as Madam, which she objected to, stating she wasn't his wife. Lai Xiqing considered it a harmless term, but Mo Ningxi asserted her independence, stating she could buy clothes for Miaomio and Xiaozhou herself. Lai Xiqing remarked that since Mo Ningxi was living in the Lai household now, Cyan would have what the other children had. He questioned her decision to buy clothes for Cyan herself. Mo Ningxi thought about her current savings and realized she would have little left after buying the clothes. Despite this, she agreed to buy the clothes but insisted on choosing them herself, citing the rapid growth of children and the wastefulness of buying too much. Lai Xiqing agreed, complimenting Mo Ningxi's eye for design. Meanwhile, Yinyan and Xiao Zhao were seen browsing through Lai Xiqing's files on their laptops. Xiao Zhao expressed a suspicion that Lai Xiqing might be his father too, surprising Yinyan. He suggested researching Yinyan's father to see if he had met Xiao Zhao's mother 5 years ago. Yinyan asked Xiao Zhao if he had found any information confirming whether Lai Xiqing was his father. Xiao Zhao replied that he couldn't find anything conclusive. The records only mentioned Lei's business dealings 5 years ago without mentioning Xiao Zhao's mother. Yin then suggested looking up Mo Ningxi's whereabouts 5 years ago. Encouraged by Yin's praise, Xiao Zhao agreed to check if his mother appeared in the same place as Lai Xixing 5 years ago. He thought to himself that if Lai turned out to be his father, both he and Manhwa Misho would finally have a father figure in their lives. Mo Ningxi thought about how she had advised Lai Xixing not to buy too much, yet they ended up choosing 3 sets of clothes for each child. As the store employee placed the bags in the car, they bid farewell, addressing Mo Ningxi and Lai Xixing as Sir and Madam. Mo Ningxi reiterated that she wasn't Lei's wife, but Lai dismissed it as a minor misunderstanding, suggesting she shouldn't take it seriously since they might not see the employee again. This made Mo Ningxi ponder why Lai Xixing had taken her in when he had a good relationship with Mo Yongkan. She wondered if Lai would agree to her proposal to buy Rong's shares if she approached him. Lai Xixing noticed Mo Ningxi's preoccupied expression and inquired about her thoughts. Mo Ningxi, caught off guard by her own musings, blurted out her wonderings about buying Lai's shares in Rong's group. She immediately regretted speaking so candidly, realizing Lai might have manipulated her into revealing her intentions. To her surprise, Lai agreed to sell the shares, stating he wouldn't have done much with them anyway. Mo Ningxi was intrigued but concerned about her limited savings. Lai stopped the car and presented a condition. If she agreed, he would give her all of Rong's shares. Mo Ningxi agreed, willing to comply within legal boundaries.